Curling now enters the Sports Weekend spotlight.
Hi, gang curling fans. Happy Sunday. Call. I always love it when you and I get to spend 2 nights of the week together. Hello to you. I missed you.
Truth be told, we talk every night, so it's sort of like, but this is with everybody, and nice to see where everybody was tuning in for. That was a really interesting game, eh? In the mixed doubles between Laura Walker and Kirk Myers and Nancy and Tyrell. You know, they dominated 2 ends in that game, and they win the whole game.
Yeah, 2 4-enders for Nancy Martin and Tyrell Griffith to claim the second stop in Saskatoon, my hometown, the Mixed Doubles Super Series. We're going to speak to the winners in a short time from now. Hello to you, curling fans. Let Colin and I know where you're tuning in from tonight. Cole, what a day of curling it was, a Super Sunday of curling, of course, because we also had the Pan-Continental Championships. Brad Gushue adding another title to his name.
And doing it so easily, too, with a massive win. Amazing how much they dominated, except for dropping that first game to the Americans. They were just in such control in every game. A lot of lopsided games. This is the first one. I think it's a really necessary step in curling to create the sort of vibe we've got with the Europeans and to allow other countries this step in to the World Championships. I think it's a fabulous thing. Interestingly enough, you know, the fans, except maybe today and a little bit yesterday, were so small.
Right.
I mean, they were so tiny. It was like no one cared. But this is an event that's going to grow. We're going to be doing this in 20 years' time. And we're going to remember that first one.
Right. And we're going to be talking about India winning Pan-Continental Championship. By the way, of course, we interviewed Raju on Thursday. He had great expectations to get to the championship game. They did. Guyana beating them 8-5 in the B final. So Guyana jumps up, Call, to the A side. The game is growing. We'll talk about that more. A bronze for Carrie Anderson, but we're going to Saskatoon because we have Nancy Martin and Tyrell Griffith, who just won the second stop. And we should point out this was the first ever Aly Jenkins Memorial Classic. So I believe we're going to bring in the.
We can somewhat. We can't hear you.
That's
you hear us now?
Oh.
I love your ear. I love this slide.
Why is there no sound?
Oh yeah.
Can you?
We'll come back to them because they can't hear us. But I mentioned, and we'll talk about this with Nancy Call, but Aly Jenkins, of course, tragically dying a couple of years ago on October 20th, giving birth. It rocked the curling community. I got to know Scott Jenkins, the kids, the family, and it really resonated around the community. A lot of people just heartbroken. And today, of course, Nancy Martin, a former teammate of Aly, winning that title. We'll talk to Nancy about that, Call.
I know. And Aly was beloved. And as you mentioned, when she passed away, the entire province really went into mourning. Tyrell, do we have you? Hi, Nancy. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, we hear you. Can you hear us?
We've got you. Congratulations to both of you. A big win. Nancy, let's start with you. This is a huge win. Very close to home. I imagine there's a lot of emotions today with it also being the Aly Jenkins Memorial Classic. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Yeah. We had a great day and oh gosh, you got me going already, Devin. I started this event last year for Aly, obviously in memory of Aly, and didn't fare so well there. So it means a lot to us to come out and do her proud here today. So. You
certainly did. You certainly did.
Wouldn't you expect Devin to get you going right away, Nancy?
I know.
You know. So, Tyrell, tell us about that game. I mean, you guys, if victory belongs to the most persevering, you guys just never gave. Yeah, there was zigs, there was zags, there was 2 beautiful 4-enders. But otherwise, except for those 2 ends, it was all Myers and Walker for quite a while. But you were always nipping at their heels. Is that just the way mixed dubs goes?
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing that Nancy's kind of taught me from day one is that you kind of keep your head up and kind of keep grinding. And it took me definitely the first year to learn that, and a couple of things going our way or going against us. But yeah, you just got to kind of just stay in there and keep making shots. And we put together there were only two ends, but we put together two really good ends. So it was a battle. Like, they're a really good team, and it just comes down to, in mixed doubles, generally it's just one or two shots, and that's kind of what it was that game.
Colin and I have talked on this show. I've had a lot of conversations with the both of you about the growth of mixed doubles. High level of competition on the second leg of the 5-part Super Series. Nancy, I know you've been pushing for this to grow mixed doubles. How nice is this to see this evolve and see the level of competition such as you saw today?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I'm so excited about what Wayne and Jay are doing with this, and CBC being on board is just amazing, just growing this sport. This weekend we had 2 young teams from Saskatchewan here, from Martinsville, my home club, come out. I think the one team is 16 years old, and it was just amazing for them to come out here. And I think they took, who did they take to the last end there? I think Rachel and Brad to the last end. So that was pretty exciting for them. So that's an exciting thing for mixed doubles. We have fans come out, and the juniors see all these big teams here. It's exciting.
Rachel and Brad, I've never heard of them. Let me just think about who. Nancy, what would Aly be thinking of this event, and especially something that you sort of designed to honor her and to bring this mixed doubles event here?
Oh, she would just be pumped to see everyone out here giving it their all. Aly was 100% all in all the time, and I think she would just be so excited to see people out here working so hard at the sport they love.
I don't make you want to make you more emotional, Nancy, but we've been vulnerable together, and we cut a piece of that tape, that compelling interview you and Sherry gave at your home rink in Martinsville. We're honoring Aly, so let's watch a little bit of that, and then we'll get your reaction.
Scott found a lifeline in a place Aly loved so much, where her teammates became her family. Aly last curled alongside Sherry Anderson and Nancy Martin and came within a shot of making it to the Scotties. They so badly wanted to get there for her and thought they might get another chance to do it.
I think you saw probably on her faces when we lost last year. She was standing beside me and the tears were rolling, and it was heartbreaking to lose that game, I think. And you always think there's another year.
Aly's death sent a shockwave through the curling community, bringing them together in their grief.
It's just not something you can wrap your head around. Not in 2019.
Yeah. I think the one thing that blew me away was it was curlers, friends of friends of friends, curlers who didn't know Aly that reached out to us. And it really made me realize what a small community we have, really, that we all have each other's back, and that we're all, like I said, teammates, whether we've played together or not, because we all play this game that we love so much.
That's such a nice reminder of why Ali Jenkins was so important. And I'll tell you, if ever there was a full circle moment for you two to win this event, it's just a little bit of magic. So congratulations. And are you at the next one too? Are you doing the whole circuit?
Yeah, you bet. We'll be in the Duke, and we're pumped to go there. So
yeah. Excited. It's going to be a good time. Yeah.
Awesome. You two have really helped pave the way and advance mixed doubles in this country. So to see you win this second leg in Saskatoon, of all places, is really, really special. So congratulations, and thanks for making time for us today. A big win in the Super Series in Saskatoon. Look at that team.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having us on the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Happy to. Well, we've had them on before. And of course, Kirk Myers and Laura Walker to lose the second final. That's a toughie because they are so good.
Good.
They're a magical mixed doubles team. So maybe third time's the charm for them on this Super Series. So we'll get them on, yeah.
We know that Sundays are championship days in the curling world, and we love it. And of course, we started bright and early. We got the coffee and the curling call. You know how much I enjoy that. Of course, Canada, Team Gushue, winning today at the Pan-Continental Championship in Calgary at Winsport. Let's take a look at that, and then let's bring Brad into the show.
sweepers have done a lot, just making life easy on them when they just have to hit the house. And there's 4. You can count them up. Well, got to make the double and try and roll the shooter out. Keep that one going. Try and get it out of the rings, and it'll hang on. I'll come up a little more, real close, make contact, and we'll pick it out. Can't hold the stone they raised, but a great effort with it near the end, and here sliding with us the whole way.
And that was that.
That was that.
Yeah, I love that. I love the all the way down the end. But Brad, yours through the legs. That's you're taking the Jeff Stoughton spinorama to the next level.
Well, I was a little nervous because I had Jeff watching there on the bench, but I think what he did was more impressive. I can't slide that far, so he did pretty good. I was more embarrassed that I missed the rings.
Oh, come on. The flag around him. Everybody should go try that at the curling club to see how tough that is. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Not everybody can slide as high as I can, so they can't fit the rock underneath them. I know you couldn't, Colleen, but I got a pretty high slide, so I could do it.
You know what? If you can be as great as you are with a high slide, I'm switching. I'm going to do high slide.
Brad, I watched the game. Congratulations. I thought the team looked so in control today. And when you watch that highlight reel, you look at the high difficulty of shots the Koreans had to face throughout the entire game. The pressure was on. How would you assess how the team gelled in a situation where maybe you could have got complacent in some of these games?
Yeah, no, I thought all week our team played really well. We kind of had the strategy the first 5 ends really apply as much pressure as possible, even no matter what the score was. And part of that was the ice conditions were really good for 5 ends, but the second 5 ends or second half of the game, the ice kind of deteriorated, got a little slower, a little flatter. So we wanted to just apply as much pressure and make the teams face really tough shots. And that's ultimately what happened. There was a lot of runbacks being played against us all week, and fortunately most of them were missed.
We were talking at the beginning of the show just how important this event is. I mean, I know it's the very first one. So we were joking in 20 years we'll be looking at this going, remember that first one? But describe for you as a curler why it's an important step forward to kind of change the way teams qualify for the World Championships.
Yeah, I think ultimately they're trying to emulate what's happening with the European Championships, which has a lot of prestige among European teams. And for us, it's still nice to go to, like, the guys are here watching me and they're making fun of me. But for us to go to, represent Canada at an international competition, we want to make that we do a good job and represent ourselves and our country as well as possible. And I thought we did that this week. I think in 10 years' time, this championship will have a lot more meaning than what it does right now. Because there's going to be more teams across the world that are going to get better and better, and this event is going to be tougher to win. So it's always nice to be the first one on a trophy, though.
As you look at the comment from the great Jeff Stoughton saying Brad is my hero. So
he's probably standing there
that's
now.
probably what they're laughing at right now in the side. So I'm a little distracted. I apologize.
Wonderful to see Jules Ochar on the bench for yet another international title to his name as well. But we should also point out the young Nathan Young. Brad, I interviewed him at the Youth Olympics in Lausanne. I was struck by his poise and the way he carried himself. He got a chance to be on the ice with your team this week, and then I saw the post-game interviews, and he was as well-spoken as I remembered. How important was it for you to get a young man from Newfoundland and Labrador and the Canadian colors in an international event?
Yeah, it's important, but more importantly for us, he was able to help make the week easier for us. He took on a lot of duties off the ice, which made our lives easier, and also gave us a chance to get a bit of a rest. My hip was acting up early in the week, so I was able to take myself out of the lineup and knew that I had a lot of confidence in him going in and the rest of the team that they can continue the game the way we should. And then later on in the week, we gave EJ a break and Jeff a break. So, over the course of a long week, that pays dividends. And so he was a big part of our win this week, and we certainly appreciate it.
Nice.
Oh, tell Jeff we're sorry Laura didn't win today. But we also love the other Cinderella story too. Tell us about that hip. When it acts up, how does it affect your high delivery, or is that why it's high? Or
Yeah, no, it definitely affects the high delivery. Just when it acts up, it just gets a little spasmy, I guess, a little some twitching and some firing in there. So it makes me just feel a little bit more unsteady than I normally do. But I had a really good physio here helping me this week. Her name was Lisa at the WinSport at the facility here. And, I seen her just about every day. And as the week went on, it got better and better. It felt really good yesterday, really good today. So want to give her a big thank you. And, it's definitely treatable. It's just something I have to stay on top of. And really over the next number of years, this is not going to be the last time that it pops up. But as long as I manage it, I'll be able to make some shots.
As long as it doesn't pop out. And I think you're only 95% today, wasn't he, Devin? What was he?
I wouldn't have been that high, but
No,
I made enough, and fortunately my team played really good today. And
yeah,
I didn't have to make many tough shots because the guys played so well, and we were able to apply that pressure and force them into really tough shots.
Let's talk about that chemistry. I've spent a lot of time with your team over the years, and I know when Team Gushue is firing, you're communicating very well. EJ's in the mix now. Where would you say you're at in terms of how you're communicating on the ice? Because he seems to have fit right in, Brad.
Yeah, I think we're way ahead of where I thought we would be at this point. I think he's fitting really well from a communication standpoint. Off the ice, we get along really well. I think the biggest challenge for us is just making sure we're throwing as similar as possible. And that's going to take some time. I think I've spoken about this, many times over the last number of months. And, it's probably going to be well after Christmas and maybe even well after this year until we get it really dialed in, because those are significant changes. And once the pressure gets on, to be able to maintain, that's a challenge. So I think we're all going to be patient in knowing that it's going to take some time. But even from where we were when we started this season in September to where we are right now, it's a huge improvement, and probably much like our communication is well ahead of where I thought it would be.
Nice.
Well, tell us about the B side, by the way. Did you ever stop and watch, or was there time for you to do that? And did you marvel at some of the countries that are trying to build programs in places you never would have thought, for example, India?
Yeah, I got to watch a few shots and a few ends over there. It's awesome to see countries like Kenya, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, countries that you'd never think would be involved in curling because they're so hot. But I think the exciting part of a championship like this for, the younger generation is maybe this event will visit some of those countries. So, for me as a curler, and Colleen, I know you've experienced this, when we go to events, usually it's snowy and cold and, you can't go outside and get a suntan. But some of these countries like Australia and Kenya and Nigeria, if it ever got there, that'd be pretty awesome to visit those countries and say you curled there. So, hopefully we get to that point. I don't want to see this championship always be in Canada, because that would kind of defeat the purpose of growing the game. But, I expect the next few years it will be, but eventually I'd love to see it, get to countries that we haven't been to before.
Well, if you thought the ice got flat in the second half in Calgary, you see it.
Yeah, but you know what? You take that, because after the game, you could always go out, get a suntan, enjoy the weather, see a different part of the world.
Let's not go back to the ice conditions in Vegas in a desert last year.
Let's not talk about that. You opened a wound there, Devin.
I apologize. I know. I got the pressure points. I was thinking about this today. You've won it all now, and now you've got another international event. You've won the first Pan-Continental Championship, but Brad, you've literally won. There's a team. Seemingly everything you could possibly win at the international level, including this newest one and this inaugural Pan-Continental title. Any reflections, when you get to wear the Canadian colors at an international event and you add another one to your name?
Well, the only thing I would say, it's so tough to represent Canada in the sport of curling because we have so many top teams and top players. So anytime you get that opportunity, you want to go out and you want to play your best and you want to do as good a job as possible. And for us this week, we knew there was going to be some games that were probably going to be a little easier than what, we typically play. but we wanted to make sure we went out there and played the way, you know, Team Gushue normally plays. And that's one thing I would say I'm probably most proud of this week, is that we treated this like any other event, and we played like any other event. And, you know, our percentages were pretty high, you know, for certainly the caliber of competition that we played. And I'm not saying that's every team, because obviously a team like Dropkin and Korea and Japan were certainly high caliber teams, but you know, we played at a high level all week, and that's something I'm proud of.
Nice stuff. Yeah, because sometimes that's hard to bring all the time, but you guys seem to bring it all the time. Whatever the formula is, don't change a thing. Right down to the hip.
It worked.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Always good to see you, Brad.
The rest of the room say congratulations.
All right, thanks guys. Take care.
Thanks, Brad. Safe travels home.
Okay.
You know, Cole, I was thinking about this. I think if we include this new Pan-Continental Championship in the list of international events for the foursome game, it hasn't been since Jennifer Jones' Women's World Championship in Thunder Bay in 2018 that Canada has won an international gold medal in foursome events. When I went back from Olympics to World Championship.
Wow. That's Bubby saying hello.
Bubby's getting excited about that.
Yeah, Bubby really appreciates that deep thought. And I appreciate that you dig out all that information that I would not have remembered. So
I think it's important, because we always break this up into quadrennials. And I think this last quadrennial, there was a lot of panic about Canada's standing in the world. And Brad mentioned it. Maybe the competition at this Pan-Continental wasn't as high, but you want to win championship games, right?
Also, what Brad said about to be able to perform at the level they did, when we saw the small crowds, that's not exactly a motivating thing for a lot of players. They still deliver. They still go out and really do the job well, no matter who they're playing. So their statistics were high. They outscored opponents big time. They never took the foot, you know, off the pedal. And that's what I find really impressive. To play at that high caliber, game in, game out, they've got such magic. There's just, when you think they can't get any stronger, you watch them play again and you go like, they make everything. EJ was amazing. He played, really they all played well, but anyhow, it's
looking right at home. A note here, Cole, before we wrap up, and I know we're going to talk about somebody who meant a lot to you, but some thoughts on teams that we think are having a slower start. I would say generally, just picking up where Brad left off, chemistry, he openly acknowledged that he thought it was going to take longer. And I think that's probably what we're seeing from a lot of these new teams, right?
And when we listened to Tyrell and Nancy, and Tyrell admitted that it was Nancy who kind of brought him around to don't panic over giving up a 3 or being down 2, right? So he had to find that in the mixed doubles game. The chemistry it takes, and chemistry is the magic ingredient to every team. And sometimes it's extremely elusive, and you put 4 people together and one person's maybe just a little off on the team. And that's why people change teams as a rule, that one person, the mojo's not there. So if you were to look at the surprising teams right now, I think the noticeable one has been, we expected big things from Brendan Bottcher. And I think that team is going to be magic, but it takes a while to build that chemistry, to figure out the systems you're working with. All of them, their resumes, you know, from Ben to Brett Gallant to Mark Kennedy, and then Brendan, it's a superstar of players. But we instantly, from the outside, expect you can't lose with that team. So that would be the slow start. And there's no reason to press a panic button. They're all wonderful people that get along and can figure it out and have been there, done that. And have each played such pivotal roles on all of their teams. Once they find out what their new role is and how to adapt and what each other needs, isn't maybe the same as what they had. And then maybe.
Well, and like you heard, Brad, where to put the broom, the different releases and everything like that. That takes time. And 4 years, a quadrennial is a long time. You just want to be peaking for 10 days in November. Maybe it'll be November. Maybe they'll change the date to be continued on that. But
it's all to be continued. On the women's side, I don't know if there's a noticeable, like Jen Jones and her new youngins started gangbusters. And I'll be seeing them this week because they're here at the Stu Cell. So I'll be interested to watch them in person to see how they are on curling club ice, which is totally different than arena ice. But they started gangbusters. It's really different on the women's side, where Carrie's sort of still the dominant and the team that's been together the longest. But there's other interesting teams that we're seeing at all of the different events, not just the slams,
Right.
that are kind of going, that could be an interesting team. And don't forget, it was Scheidinger's team without her skipping.
Right.
In the final against Jennifer Jones, and that team is a really good team. So anyhow, interesting that they're keeping the big format at the Scotties. So
consistency, week in and week out. We saw it from
that's us.
We're consistent. We bring it every show. Congratulations to Carrie Anerson and her team getting scrappy, winning the bronze medal against the Americans today. A well-played game. Nice to finish that way. Call, I'll turn it over to you because the curling world lost a great man.
Well, we were at the Olympic trials in Saskatoon when I ran into, again, Jim Young, who was a friend to every curler. And for all the curling fans, you would have known Jim's work. And if you were ever at a live event, you couldn't miss him because he was tall and a bald head and kind of had the key camera all the time. Curlers loved him. He worked for TSN, of course, but to the curlers, he worked with them. He never got in your way. He respected your space. He congratulated you after the game. He talked to you before with a smile on his face all the time. He had good energy all the time, and everybody loved him. And when we were in Saskatoon, you and I together grabbing coffee all the time, Jim showed up battling cancer, always with the best of outlooks too. Just totally positive that he was going to live life fully, even amid a horrible diagnosis. Yeah. Anyhow, here is the beloved by every curler in Canada that had the privilege of having him shoot them. Here's some memories of Jim.
If I had to pick five, I've been trying to pick five memories. Okay. The first one that comes to mind is standing in Nagano, Japan, listening to "Oh Canada" when Sandra Schmirler won the gold medal. Because I was in tears. They were all crying, and I had a tear in my eye.
Nice memory.
Number two would be my girls from Nova Scotia. Absolutely. There was just something there.
Yeah.
There was something there.
And we loved you, and we'd always go to Jimmy and do this.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And then Kevin Martin winning the Olympics in Vancouver.
That was special.
Yeah. But better than that was Cheryl Bernard in Vancouver when she won the silver medal. She was so disappointed. She came to me and hugged me and was crying. And I said, "Do you know how many people would love to be in your shoes right now?" I said, "You might not want the silver medal now, but in a couple of years, you're going to love that thing."
True.
And she did say, and then this one was really special. So there was the Scotties was in Regina, and I was checking into the hotel, and my mom phoned me and told me my dad was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And I was devastated. I was just standing in the lobby, and I didn't know what to do, and I was talking to my mom, and I was, I had that look on my face. And Jennifer Jones came into the lobby, and my dad was a big Jennifer Jones fan, being from Winnipeg. Loved Jennifer Jones. So she walked by and she saw that something was going on. So I said to my mom, I said, "I'll call you when I get checked in up to my room." So I hung up the phone. She goes, "What's going on?" And I told her. And she had never met my parents. She'd never talked to my dad. And she said, in the lobby of the hotel, she goes, "Call him back, let me talk to him." And she stood in the lobby for about 20 minutes talking to my dad. He passed away a month later, and my mom said every day he talked about it and had a smile on his face.
Yeah.
That's what curling is. It's not curling, it's,
33 years, wow.
Yeah.
Love ya.
Love you too. You remember when Furby put the kilt on, or the skirt? Remember we did that?
Furby, crazy.
We all had Jim's attitude all the time. Wow. Just joyous, happy to be at work every day when he was shooting curlers. And as I said, it's a big loss for the curling community. Everybody was saddened when the cancer came for him. Everybody was in full admiration with how he lived every day of his life, like with no complaints. anyhow, he'll be missed. And he brought us so many great curling. Every great curling shot that's ever been shot, he shot it.
That's a special video call that, and I know that was a special moment for you and Jim in Saskatoon. Gone way too soon. Thank you for sharing all of that, because I know how close you two were. So thank you for sharing that. And what great.
Thank you for sharing the beautiful story on Ali. It's nice to go back into the archives, and because this is what makes curling strong, this sense of community, that everybody felt they were Ali's friend, that everybody felt they were Jim's friend. Even if you don't know them, they represent what the game is all about, first and foremost, which is this incredible brotherhood and sisterhood and camaraderie of respect and happy to be out playing.
The spirit of curling, perspective, and gratitude on a Sunday night. I'm excited for you to be here.
Right on. This is our big week, but first we have a show here Thursday.
We're going to be in our places on Thursday. Friday, Colleen's coming to Toronto. We're at the Toronto Hope Bonspiel on Saturday.
We need outfits, so we're going shopping.
We're going shopping. To the curling fans, we hope you're taking care wherever this finds you. Call. Appreciate you, producer.
Appreciate you. Remember joy, everybody in your life, just like Jim, just like Ali. Nice to have you with us. Thanks, producer Soph.
Good night, everyone. We'll see you Thursday.